Welcome to VSB News Online for Tuesday, July 7th. I'm Peter Cattell. The Bermuda Health Council has kept its promise to publish the names of companies that have failed to provide proof that they are operating an active health insurance policy in which their employees' dues have been properly dispersed. The first 12 firms to be named with numbers of employees is as follows: AJW Construction 4, De Silva's Real Estate and Rentals 2, Electrical Limited 4, Gloria's Kitchen 2, Lush Lawn Landscaping 4, Serenity Gardens Home 3, Axiom Limited 4, Bull's Head Care Center 7, Birdies Limited 5, Gorman Limited 5, Zippy Lube 2 5, and Impact Mentoring 3. There has been a new twist to the story of the 40-year-old man who was shot in the Bailey's Bay Cricket Club and is currently in stable condition in the intensive care unit of the King Edward Hospital. Brian Darby has the details.
Hamilton East MP Derek Burgess is claiming in a statement he made today about the Bailey's Bay Cricket Club shootings that it has been confirmed that the 40-year-old male victim was the subject of mistaken identity and that the father of two seriously injured from the gunshot wounds was socializing at the club. However, a police spokesman declined to be drawn into the suggestion and said instead that all that could be said and would be said at this stage was that an active investigation was underway. Anyone with information on the circumstances or the identity of the shooter was urged to contact the police at 295-0011. Mr. Burgess is calling for the formation of a high-profile community action group to address the perpetrators of gang and gun violence in the community. Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
20 out of 100 Bermudians have chronic kidney disease, and $30 million is spent each year on dialysis. These and other startling figures were relayed to Hamilton Rotarians today by nephrology consultant Dr. Raphael Lutterby. He told Rotarians that a major way to combat this disease is by screening, which he enlarged upon in the first of a two-part interview with Charles Webb.
Unfortunately, there is no visible of chronic kidney disease, and you could lose almost 90% of your kidney function and not have a single symptom. And it's why they say it's a silent killer. And when you start having symptoms of chronic kidney disease, it will be the time to do kidney replacement, hemodialysis, and usually this is an emergency. And those symptoms could be shortness of breath, change of mental status. You could have what they call a pericardial effusion. You could vomit blood, and those symptoms are emergencies. And also, you will have all kind of electrolyte derangement in your blood.
So now, would you be a prime candidate, for example, if you didn't have the right diet?
Actually, the diet has to do with it, but there is more than the diet. The wrong diet over time, over a decade, will probably lead you to type 2 diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, which will ultimately lead you to chronic kidney disease.
The man who allegedly robbed a St. George's Bank last month has appeared in magistrate's court to face a number of charges. Chris Lodge reports.
23-year-old Gregory Armando Tucker of Devonshire was accused of robbing the St. George's branch of Butterfield Bank on June the 9th and using an imitation firearm to commit the indictable offense. He was also charged with robbing bank teller Nigel Torini on the same date. Tucker was not required to enter a plea as the charges are indictable and must be read to him again in Supreme Court. He's been remanded into custody by Magistrate Kamisi Tecumbo and is now set to reappear in court on July 27th. I'm Chris Lodge, VSB News.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
At the Coalition for the Protection of Children, we believe that children are a gift. We all want to be able to give them all the time, nurturing, and financial support they need.
But raising kids today can be expensive.
You can spend more than $1,500 on diapers. $1,500 on baby food, and another $1,500 on formula. Why, daycare can run you $9,000 to $10,000 a year. Then on to school uniforms for almost another $1,000, and we haven't even gotten to college yet. There are many options available for planning your family. The Coalition for the Protection of Children is there to help you decide, and don't worry about the expense of family planning. They are there to help you with that too. Just call or drop by their office anytime.
After spending much of his adult life working with the Bermuda National Trust in a number of roles, lawyer Tim Marshall was elected president at the recent AGM and began his 5-year term immediately. He spoke to VSB News' Brian Darby about his conception of the direction the environmental body needs to take.
We are at a point where we need to reinvent ourselves. We need to ensure that we are relevant to the next generation, and we are actively at every meeting that we have that is on our agenda to make sure that we modernize ourselves, that our communications are on the social media where we should be. So we're making a big move to get into social media, and we want to ensure that as many people as possible appreciate the very good work that the National Trust, its 11 staff members, its many volunteers are doing throughout the year.
The Trust has been supplanted in some ways for aggressiveness by Best and to a certain extent Green Rock. Do you think you're now becoming a bit of an older statesman behind these people?
We definitely have a statesman role, and Green Rock and Best, Stuart Hayward, they do a wonderful job, and the Trust admires the work that they do. We have always had a advocacy wing to the National Trust, and in some areas of the Trust it's been more vocal than others. Certainly when I was the environmental chairman in the 1990s, it was very vocal. I've aged a bit, so I think that where we are going is that the public can expect us to increase the volume a little bit, not perhaps as much as what was done in the 1990s, but you can expect us to have a greater voice on national issues. The National Trust recognizes that Bermuda is in a very difficult financial position. There are green shoots happening. There's new optimism in Bermuda, and risks have to be taken. And in that environment where we have to look after the reasonable needs of our community, we perhaps cannot be as obstructive as perhaps we were viewed in the past environmental groups. That doesn't mean to say that we should be silent, but I do think that it means that we have to see the bigger picture when we are advocating our position. Our position is terribly important, but I believe that in this environment, both government and the environmental groups have to operate in the economic environment in which we find ourselves, and that is a game changer in terms of where we are in 2015.
In the second part of our interview, Mr. Marshall highlights the areas in which he feels the government needs to take some action. Among them, the overabundance of moorings and climate change. A magnificent work by French sculptor Auguste Rodin is making a rare appearance during the private collection series at the Bermuda National Gallery. Charles Webb asked gallery director Lisa Howie If this presents an unusual opportunity for Bermudians to view the works of an internationally recognized master without leaving our shores.
Absolutely. It's an exceptional opportunity to get close and intimate with one of the most innovative sculpture artists of the modern era. If we can think about Rodin and the relationship to, say, Claude Monet, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, Degas, other artists in the Impressionist era who are very much pivotal in the evolution of not just artistic expression, but just generally more openly in terms of all freedoms of expression, moving away from being a set way and being very expressive. Yeah.
Now, to your knowledge, is this the only Rodin in Bermuda?
I don't know. It seems that as we embark on this private collection series, more and more fascinating, very exceptional objects of various mediums become aware to us. And perhaps that really points to Bermudians and residents locally who have very global tastes, very exceptional cultural experiences, and have holdings that through this series are willing to share.
Now, his larger works like The Gates of Hell and The Burghers of Calais, obviously you wouldn't be able to have them here. But this is a miniature, is it?
It's a maquette. It's a small model. It features within the Gates of Hell, which is why we have an impression of the Gates of Hell behind us. When you look closely at the gates, you can actually find this object, which is in English called Despair, or in French, Désespoir. And what's interesting about the Gates of Hell project that Rodin worked on for almost 40 years is that the maquettes that featured in the gates also then became larger statues. So you'll find the Thinker. One of his most famous pieces is the Thinker, and that sits atop the gates. So it's a really interesting relationship between looking at this Gates of Hell, which was a monumental project, and then realizing that the artist has a process that starts quite differently, in this case, very small, and then they become something larger.
As women's health becomes more talked about globally, the issue arises on how to avoid and prevent certain injuries. Local sports enthusiast Adair Dill sought the answers from someone she knows personally.
Hands-on Therapy, founded by Charlene Dill, is a physiotherapy clinic that does all different manual types of therapies, such as sports injury treatment, myofascial release, women's health, TMJ, acupuncture, and orthopedic. In an interview with Dill, she discusses the importance of women's health.
Women's health can include things like pelvic pain, painful sex, menstrual cramping, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. Although they're more common in women, it's not exclusive to women, those last two that I mentioned. Incontinence issues, women leak urine through laughing, coughing, or sneezing, or through exercise. And some of these problems can be caused by childbearing. Some people have problems. I have people that have problems that don't have children and that are quite young. So there are any number of reasons that you can have some of these issues. Interstitial cystitis, which is a chronic bladder infection, irritable bowel syndrome. There's a lot of syndromes, some not really named syndromes, but just called pelvic pain that women can have.
And what's something that you find common in your female patients in Bermuda that they tend to have or tend to lack that leads to a lot of their problems?
Well, a lot of women, I think across the board, not just in Bermuda, have incontinence, but many women don't admit they have incontinence. They just say, oh, I just wear a little mini pad just in case, you know. They don't want to admit to themselves or to the doctors. They say on average it takes a woman at least 4 years before she admits that she has a problem. And that includes having to run to the bathroom the minute you've got to go. It's like an urge incontinence. There are different types of incontinence. Many women leak with exercise in gyms, doing crunches and abdominal work incorrectly. Some just because they have a weakness in the pelvic floor and the transverse abdominis, the lower ab muscles. We also see a lot of pelvic pain problems, painful sex type problems, for any unknown reason or supposedly unknown reason. It could be fascia restrictions from years of stuff. If you do gymnastics and you're always falling on your butt and you screw up your pelvis that way, or you do figure skating, or you do basketball and you're always landing hard on the court, All those things affect your body.
I'm Sadea Dill reporting for VSB News.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
Well, Bermuda find themselves 0-2 at their 2 days of the ICC Americas Under-19 Division tournament going on in Bermuda. At Lord's in St. David yesterday, Canada scored 257 for 7 in their allotted 50 overs, with captain Abash Khan, the top scorer, on 94. Amish Talou added 46. The pair put on a 93-run third-wicket partnership. Shari Smith was the pick of the Bermuda bowlers, returning figures of 9 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 36, while Michael Simons bowled 10 overs. He took 2 for 63. In reply, Bermuda were all out for 187, some 71 runs shy of their target. Delray Rollins was the top scorer on 45, while Shaquille Otterbridge added 19. Abdul Shahid was the pick of the Canadian bowlers, returning figures of 9.3 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 18, while Harash Thacker bowled 10 overs. He had 1 maiden, he took 3 for 28. The ICC Americas Under-19 tournament got underway. Western County and Central County Cup competitions continued, as well as the Bermuda Cricket Board's Premier Division. It all took center stage over this past weekend, and today we bring you the top batting and bowling performances. In the batting department, Dion Stovall from Southampton Rangers had the best knock of the weekend, scoring 154 not out against Cleveland County in their Premier Division match, while his teammate Gennaro Tucker scored 112 not out against PHC during the Western County Cup match at the Southampton Oval on Saturday. Also on Saturday, O.J. Pitcher from St. David's Cricket Club scored 104 in their match against Flats Victoria. In the bowling department, Lombard Brangman from Devonshire Recreation Club returned the best figures of 7 overs, 1 maiden, 4 for 23, or figures of 10 overs, 2 maidens, 4 for 36, saw Kevin Hurdle, representing St. David's Cricket Club, record the second best figures of the weekend. Barry Smith from the Bermuda Under-19 national team had the third best figures of the weekend. He bowled 10 overs. He took 4 for 43. Jair Parker-Williams became the first Bermudian-born footballer to play in the Europa League last week as he came on for West Ham United in the 74th minute, replacing Mario Zarata. Parker-Williams reflected on the night.
It was a good experience. It was 35,000 people there. It was good for a lot of the fans to see me for the first time, so it was good.
Were you nervous?
No. I don't really. Yeah, I don't feel. I'm just excited to get on the pitch and just show everybody what I could do. I don't really feel nervous.
Came close to scoring late in the game with that header.
Yeah. Keeper saved it.
When do you guys play the return leg?
We play this Thursday, so we leave on Wednesday. We leave Wednesday morning, then we play them on Thursday, and then we'll come back on Friday.
A new coach, what some of the team talk so far?
Really, he just told us like this is a great opportunity for everybody in the club, and he just said he just wants us just to take it like a normal game, don't think about it too much, and just play football how you normally play.
Now, it's a big step up from you from the development team, now in the first team. You feel any added pressure that you have to perform in order to stay in the team?
Yeah, of course, because there's so many other good players, but that's a good pressure because it'll want you to keep improving more and more.
What do you look forward to from yourself to help West Ham this season?
Well, for myself, really, my goal for this season, I want to prove myself to be the best player, the best attacking player at West Ham. And I feel like I need a few more real opportunities so that I can prove that. And I just want to keep trying to stay involved in the first team so then I can prove it to everybody.
Staying with football news, a 3-man special committee has proposed changes designed to eliminate fraud and promote transparency within CONCACAF. CONCACAF will make extensive changes in the way it does business after several of the governing body's prominent officials were placed at the center of the FIFA corruption scandal. The organization that oversees soccer in North America, Central America, and the Caribbean announced on Monday that it has approved reform measures proposed by a three-man special committee. The following changes are among those set to be instituted after approval over the weekend by the CONCACAF Executive Committee. They include term limits will be imposed on all members of the Executive Committee, including the President, adjustments to the nomination and election process designed to prevent enrichment on the Executive Committee. Financial statements and compensations for Executive Committee members will be made public on the body's website. Hiring a Chief Compliance Officer to oversee compliance and fraud prevention programs. Create a whistleblower hotline administered by CONCACAF's Audit Committee and conduct background checks on all vendors via a new pre-approval system. Those recommendations were made by federations heads of three of the largest countries in CONCACAF that include USA, Mexico, and Canada. The Bermuda Inline Bowl Hockey League season continued last evening at the PCC Hockey Rink with a doubleheader that produced a total of 35 goals. The Somerset Snappers defeated St. George's Generals 13-5. Matthew Benson led the Somerset Snappers to victory with 6 goals, while Christopher Jackson added 4. Jeff Marash scored twice and Tom Miller added the other. Andrew Kernall scored a hat-trick for St. George's, while Jeff Mars scored twice. The Nightcap produced 17 goals with the Pembroke Pirates defeating the Paget Pistols 11-6. I'm Earl Baston reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Wednesday, July 8th, there will be a mix of sun and cloud with a passing shower, mainly early. Winds will be north-northwesterly and light. The high will be near 85 Fahrenheit and the low near 78 Fahrenheit. This weather report is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for watching VSB News Online for Tuesday, July 7th. I'm Peter Cattell.